Mr. Stewart, we are proud to honor you this evening here at the Maximum Security Prison. And on behalf of our superintendent, let me just give you all a little heads up. This program is not like the average program that we see throughout the prison service. Usually when we host programs throughout the service, we would see a lot of outside performances, well known to the public and well known to us within the walls. This evening, however, we are highlighting, if not all, most of the talent from our inmates, our charges, both remanded and convicted from within the walls of the Maximum Security Prison.
Eternal and ever-wise God, as we come before your throne, dear God, we want to thank you. We want to bless you. We want to glorify, magnify, and sanctify your holy and infinite name for this wonderful opportunity, dear God. We thank you, O God, that we are celebrating life, O God. We thank you, O Lord, for celebrating our Commissioner of Prisons, O God, and by extension, our Father, dear God. We bless you, dear God, and we glorify and magnify and sanctify you, O God. And we thank you, O God, once again for this wonderful opportunity whereby, O God, we can share, dear God. We ask you to have your way, O God. Take charge, O God. Let everything be done in decency and in order. And at the end of it, O God, let us all say hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Would all stand again for the national anthem, which would be done by Errol McCollins on the national instrument. We are honoring excellence this evening. We are honoring our Commissioner of Prisons for 30 plus years. I believe it's either 36 or 37. And at this time, we would want to listen to what our superintendent has to say. He was the driving force behind this program. All right, so could we put our hands together as our superintendent, Mr. David Prince, brings greetings.
This evening is really, really, really a pleasure for me to have our commissioner here to honor him. It's really, really a pleasure. You see, 31 years ago, I want us to go down memory lane a little bit to the lifers. All you know this story. 31 years ago, nowhere in the prison service this would have been happening. I speak to a prison system that was strictly retributive. We didn't know anything about restoration. So at that time, my stance was, we stand off for the inmate. You get trouble, we deal with you. We put you in the cell block. And it did not have the humanitarian side to that style of imprisonment. They call it lex talionosis, an eye for eye and a tooth for tooth. You do society, and when you come here, we will do your back. And I want to fast forward to now. We still answering questions and sending the women inmates to do certain things, to do certain transactions. We still answering as a prison system. And once my commissioner tell me do it, trust me, I'm doing it. We were able to get back the spiritual aspect inside here. And without fear and without favor, my executive continued to tell me, you do it. You have my support. And recently we realized we're getting back the support of people like Mr. Morris I don't know how he does do it sometime. GAT, and a number of NGOs, Miss Camps. So once I have strength in my body, once I have strength, I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country, and these are my citizens. All I ask, and all I continue to ask, is behavior. It's only big men in this jail. It's no little boy here. Right? And once you all behaving, and I know I have your support, I will continue. I thank you.
That was our superintendent right here at the maximum security prison, Mr. David Prince. And bringing greetings from the prisons administration, we'd like to put our hands together for our Assistant Commissioner of Prisons, Public Relations and Communications. Could we give him a very warm welcome as he comes, Mr. Ramuta?
From the executive, I can speak about the commissioner, and I can speak about the man, Mr. Sterling Stewart. From our senior officers, we know Mr. Stewart, the man, as he tell you, make it happen. I don't want no stories. That is Mr. Stewart. The commissioner, he's a man thinks out of the box. He has the human interest to his heart. Now, when you think out of the box, it's taking a risk. He takes acceptable risk. And it's only by taking a risk and doing something differently can you get improvement. Can you get something different? So, in honoring Mr. Sterling Stewart, I want to recognize the fact that he thinks out of the box, do something differently, and he will back up whatever he does. He has boldly made statements in the media where he said that we have inmates here ready for outside. They have been reformed, and they should be given that opportunity now. He has done that. When our officers were under attack, he came out and defended his staff, defended his officers. And quite recently, he had to defend officers and inmates in doing what the Commissioner of Prison has the authority to do. From the executive, I want to compliment and commend the inmates for your cooperation, for your assistance, for your collaboration and working with the officers. Just yesterday, I was speaking short, a brief little Christmas get-together we had at the radio program, and admiring how the staff and officers work as one unit. Mr. Stewardship is leading us in this direction to work together. So to the man who says, make it happen, and we don't want no stories, we honor in excellence. He also tells us, excellence don't come easy. That is our box one. All you have to justify it. So I know during the course of this program, we're going to justify the excellence of Mr. Sterling Stewart. Thank you.
Could we give him a round of applause, please? Okay, we also want to recognize a few more people that just came in. We want to say hello to Pastor Daniel Parks, Mr. St. Clair, Ms. Norma Clark, thanks for coming. We are really glad to have you. Okay, we did emphasize that today's program is a program with a difference. We do not have too much performances from the outside. We are highlighting the talents of the inmates within the walls of the maximum security prison. All right, and when we talk about the programs, we could talk religion, we could talk sports, we could talk music. Shall I go on, Mr. Prince? We could talk culture, we could talk life skills. But the highlight now, we want to talk about film and theater. All right, we do have a film and theater, and they go under the name Brown Cotton Productions. So we'd like to put our hands together, Ms. Cams, Mr. Alicia Charles, and Mr. De Freitas, and their team. Could we put our hands together for them, please?
In all my years of practicing law, over 36 years, 36 years ago, which Mr. Sterling Stewart joined the prison service, This gentleman has always displayed an impeccable character, a quality of mind, which showed he cared about his fellow men and women, about humanity. He sees not only the bad, but also the little good in people, that little spark of light, which if given a little time, will become such a glow that will be able to brighten the darkness in other people's life. I recommend Mr. Sterling Stewart as Prison Commissioner.
Madam Speaker, as Minister for National Security, I redirect your attention to the problem that is before us. I harnessed the collective consciousness of all our peoples. And my constituents say, if you do the time or the crime, you will do the time. To hell with restorative justice. I will lead the way with cutting edge, technologically advanced material. I give you the newly developed Pentium 832 anti-explosive, solar repulsive, space modulator, lubricated with non-oxynol 9, providing atmospheric prisoners control. We will deal with these individuals as we see fit. Restorative justice, just now.
Madam Speaker, are we here this afternoon to appoint a new commissioner of prisons, or are we here to plan World War III? With the kind of weapons my good friend has just described, soon we wouldn't have to worry about the prisoners. We will have to hide from him and his army. Come on, Madam Speaker. Can you imagine to think about the kind of prison we're going to soon have if this gentleman is given his way? Madam Speaker, let me remind you and this House this afternoon that a popular statement that once rocked the world, and it says, our society will be judged by the way we treat our prisoners. Is that the kind of society we have today? Is that how we want the world to see us? As a cruel, callous, and unforgiving people? Madam Speaker, let me remind my Christian brother here, the essence of Christianity is forgiveness. And I want to remind you too, Madam Speaker, it is God himself who took the form as Jesus Christ, and he came to save mankind. And hear what he said.
Excuse me, honorable member, you are preaching to us. Are you for the appointment or are you against the appointment?
I am for the appointment of the new commission. One more minute, Madam Speaker. If we are to go restorative, then let me introduce you to the man whose philosophy is not only to hold and treat, but to care and share. Madam Speaker, in the House today, I give you Mr. Stewart Stewart. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, I have heard the recommendations made in favor of having Mr. Stewart elected as the next commissioner. But somehow, I don't think he's best suited for the job, as he's an advocate of restorative justice, and I don't support that. My son was brutally murdered by the hands of a vicious criminal. And you're telling me about restorative justice? What does restorative justice do to ease the pain, agony, and mental anguish suffered by the relatives of victims? Can restorative justice restore the life of my son? I rest my case.
Madam Speaker, I'm not supporting Mr. Sterling Stewart as commissioner. Mr. Sterling Stewart is a too goody-goody man to deal with those type of criminals. We need somebody like them, long-time Bar John and them, to deal with those type of criminals. We believe in this restorative justice. I believe criminals should be locked and put away and fed once a day. I believe that criminals should be put in prison. And so I cannot support this appointment, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Madam Speaker, honorable members of this House, Shakespeare said that nothing ain't changed. And in this prison, ladies and gentlemen, we have had 9 commissioners over the last 30 years. And the situation ain't changed. In Trinidad and Tobago, we're good at old talk. We can talk the talk, but we don't walk the talk. They talk restorative justice. They talk parole. They talk shackles on feet, but no implementation. Let me tell you something. I have done my research as Minister of Legal Affairs. 47 years ago, yes, 47 years ago, in New Zealand, the people of the day, the government passed legislation, and they have restorative justice on their books, and it works there. But in Trinidad and Tobago, the people at the top only talk and talk. But, Madam Speaker, what we need in Trinidad and Tobago is somebody who will walk the talk. And I'm afraid that is the problem today we're facing. Thank you.
I endorse Mr. Stewart as Commissioner because he is above all. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, Member of Parliament, I, as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, endorse Mr. Stewart as the Commissioner of Prison.
Mr. Stewart is now appointed as Commissioner of Prison. Is Mr. Stewart here? Could you please bring him in?
Mr. Speaker and Member of Parliament, I would like to know my decision before I say anything.
Now, Mr. Stewart, you have been appointed Commissioner of Prison by this Honorable House. We hope you carry out your duties with dignity and honor.
First, I must say thanks to Jah.
Rastafari!
Well, everybody was arguing restorative justice. Everybody was arguing restorative justice. And what I want to say today is, let us take it from our heart today. 1980 was tooth powder. 2016 is toothpaste. 1980 was sulfur in the tea. Now it's cocoa tea with real milk and cow milk. Ladies and gentlemen, members of Parliament, Speaker, I would like to say again, we had gorillas who tried to take over the country here. Clyde Haynes, Clemens, Anthony Alexander, and everybody that's forget his name. Mr. Lambert carried them to the University of the West Indies, and there they became scholars. A round of applause to Mr. Lambert, please. Mr. Lambert. And at no point in time, people must remember, restorative justice, they're saying restorative justice starts in Canada. It starts in Colombia, where a man received a prize. Restorative justice starts in Trinidad and Tobago. Ray!
Yes!
Restorative justice. I will tell you now how it starts. It starts where? Mr. Alexander, Deputy Commissioner, Mr. Garcia, Mr. Lai Jeffrey, Mr. Garcia, again, 13 is his number. These men put their hand in the pocket when Mr. Rogers said that the school cannot be open because MSP is only 18 prisoners and he can't afford for it to go in the school, and we start to teach in the yard. And Mr. Alexander said it is time for the school to be open and the church to be open. Restorative justice start again. Ladies and gentlemen. We also have brilliant people pushing restorative justice. We are calling them yet. Mr. Martis, Mr. Osborne, who have the prison today. Watch, who have the prison today. Ladies, men coming from the free world and mixing with 75 years and lifers. Give yourself a round of applause too. And who doing this? Who doing this is the officers, not the government. Give yourself a next round of applause. And I am saying, members of parliament, I find, what I find I should put in my pocket, eh? But what I'm saying is, what I find is, the officers, and them is bending, they are bending to help us. The government makes no change here. I see officers put their hand in the pocket. Men like Mr. Ragu, put their hand in the pocket. Men like Mr. Garcia, put their hand in the pocket. Well, I ain't talking about Rastafari yet, because YTC lads was going out, winning all the competitions, all the rugby games, all the football games, and everybody was living good. The female prison, we had Angela Jacob, a old gorilla. She was a teacher. Angela Jacob was a teacher. She was a gorilla. And the prison makes she somebody. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have again restorative justice. This is not time to kicks all who the prison spending money on and sending them out to better themselves. Don't cut it as a cotton jail, cut it as a rehabilitation center. Yeah. A rehabilitation center. And when I seen the saying mentor, the saying serious prisoners, but if you do have Jesus in your life, you do have nothing. You do have nothing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stewart.
Very well. So what I have to say is, members of speakers, before I leave, I want to say, Mr. Stewart, this little token of appreciation was for you, and it's only Jesus could tell you you could go home April. But if Jesus say, when you lie down and he say, you have to go, an additional 6 months, not even you could say you're going, I'm leaving, you know. Have a nice day. Have a nice day, Mr. Stewart.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say firstly that, Mr. Stewart, I know you were not expecting to see me here today. It is not like me to deceive you. But if you have any issues, you can speak to Mr. Prince or Mr. Sudin. Good afternoon to all again. I am not as eloquent as the person that I am going to speak about, so I have prepared a few words to share with you. I am here today to give you a little insight about the man, Sterling Stewart. I think I know him pretty good, since he has been my best friend and partner for over 36 years. When I first met my husband, he was just 22 going on 23 years old. At that time, he was already in the service. In fact, he's a second-generation prison officer. His father, Desmond Stewart, retired as deputy commissioner. So you can say he's a born-bred Tonky. For many years after I met him, whenever I met his friends and schoolmates, they would say to me, Stewart, he was a miserable little fella, you know. Or they would ask him, boy, you're still miserable? But as the years went by, when I met his associates, I started to get a different reaction. I started to hear, this is a good man. So I have seen him transition from a miserable little fella to a good man. But to me, certain things have not changed. There are many things I can tell you about my husband, but I will not give you the juicy, sordid details at this forum. For today, I will limit it to 8 significant traits of the man you know as the commish. Adjectives that I feel aptly describe him, and in part is responsible for his success. Firstly, I would like to describe him as serious, yes, no nonsense, very pragmatic, down to earth. He's a serious man. Secondly, I would say that he's truthful, sincere, genuine, honest person, very candid, straightforward. It's like what you see is what you get, whether you like it or not. He is effective. He gets things done. He's a make-it-happen kind of guy. Only recently, we met the U.S. ambassador designate, the past U.S. ambassador designate at a function, and she reiterated those words that he said, oh God, this is the man I want to see. You know, long I trying to get something done in the prison and again the roundabout. Mr. Stewart, I know you the make it happen man. So yeah, she confirmed my sentiments that he's the make it happen man. I will also like to describe him as radical. Now, radical in a positive, progressive way, meaning innovative, willing to try new things that have not been done before. Sometimes he would get phone calls with people asking to do certain things in the prison, both internally and externally. And very often I would hear him say, surely, no problem, anything for the betterment of the inmates and the institution. Mr. Stewart is loyal, a devoted husband, father, friend, and leader. Indomitable. That is just a big word to say that he is lion-hearted and fearless. His favorite catchphrase is no fear. He's a noble man. Now, the dictionary meaning for noble is having fine personal qualities or high moral principles, understanding, upstanding, and honorable. Indeed, he is a noble man. So for those of you who have followed me closely, may have realized that I am using Sterling as an acronym to describe my husband. S for serious, T for truthful, E for effective, R for radical, L for loyal, I indomitable, N for noble, and last, but by no means least, G. And the G stands for God. Those of us who know him well will tell you that he's a godly man. Not a religious man, you know, a godly man. Or as he would prefer to put it, I's a God man. Or I's a Jah man. The bottom line is that he loves the Lord. I think his spirituality is his strength. He relies heavily on the Spirit for guidance. Sometimes he would mention to me that he's going to do certain things. And I would say, honey, you sure you want to go that way? And he would say, we will see how the Spirit goes. Or he might say to me, girl, you wouldn't understand it. It's a spirit thing. Having said that, I would like to share his favorite Bible verse with you. This has been his mantra that took him to the office of commissioner. It's Galatians 6:9. Do not be weary in well-doing, for in due season you shall reap if you faint not. So, upon his retirement early next year, Stewarty would have given 39 years of dedicated service. Along the way, thank you. Along the way, he would have made some friends, and he would have made some enemies. But as the saying goes, if everyone likes you, you're doing something wrong. Or as the Bible puts it in Luke 6:26, woe to you if everyone speaks well of you. But for those of you who took the time to know the man, would have seen what I saw. That emotional, compassionate, caring, gentle side. One thing I can say for sure is that he did it his way. He gave it everything he has. He made a lot of sacrifices, but it was worth it. I am so proud of him. For those of you who supported him, I sincerely thank you. The prison service has made many things possible for the Stewart family. I would like to consider this as our retirement, not just Mr. Stewart. But I will hasten to add that a wise person once told me that a retired husband is often a wife's full-time job. I hope that will not be the case with me. Nonetheless, this is a good time before it is too late to have a good time. So ladies and gentlemen, I say thank you again for all the love and support and for giving my husband back to me while he still has some life left. God bless.
But before I sing the song, I want to say this. People talking and they're free to say what they want. But first, God knows, and we know where it come from, Father. I was talking about. You're blessed. I need a Gideon boot and a khaki suit to stand out in a Babylon and defend the truth. Me nah go stick around and watch on things and keep them up on mute. I got a strong reggae beat and a mic in my hand to lead out the youth them out of destruction and let the people they should know right from wrong. Yeah, that's right. We got the strength, we got the power to help each other up the ladder. Don't be selfish, my welfare brothers. Today, yeah, why? We can make it if we try. Always remember to hold your head high. It does make sense when we fuss and fight. You know? I need a Gideon boot and a khaki suit to stand out in a Babylon and defend the truth. Me nah go stick around and watch wrong things and keep them up on you. I got a strong reggae beat and a mic in my hand to lead out the youth them out of destruction and let the people they should know right from wrong. All who believe in love, we get a blessing from above. Now you believe in love. All who believe in love, we get a blessing from above. Now you believe in love. Hear this, son. Calling on the leaders of the world today. Yeah, now. Give a helping hand to the poor class, I say. Yeah. You got to let the people know the right from wrong. They are depending on you to lead the way. Yeah. People, just be wise. Believe in yourselves. The future generation depend on you. Show a little love in your heart and let the people know there's more to life. Say what? I need a Gideon boot and a khaki suit to stand out in MSP and tell you the truth. Mr. Solinesi man open the way for we. See? It had those who came before him and they know that they didn't do nothing. But now we say, let us show them the way. You know, say, I need a Gideon boot and a khaki suit to stand out in a Babylon and defend the truth. Me nah go sit around and watch wrong things and keep them up on you. I got that strong reggae beat and a mic in my hand to lead all these them out of destruction and let the people they should know right from wrong. All who believe in love, we get the blessing from above. Now you believe in love. All who believe in love,
calling on the leaders, calling on the politicians, set the right example, I say, yeah. Calling on the pastors, calling on the followers, do the right thing each day, ooh yeah. Say what? I need a Gideon, put on a khaki suit to stand out in a Babylon and defend the truth. Me not go stick around and watch on things and leave them up on you. I got a strong reggae beat and a mic in my hand to lead all the youths them out of destruction. And let the people, they should know right from wrong. Sing it out. All who believe in love. Let me hear all this, sing it. A blessing from above. Now you believe in love. Sing it now. All who believe in love. We get a blessing from above. Now you believe in love. Bless you. Sing. Don't go. Talk. All the time. I like Mr. Roger in the house. Mr. Bucket. Bless. Later.
If Jah is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid of the pestilence that crawleth by night? If Jah is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid of the pestilence that crawleth by night? Your best you try to harm and I aiming to kill, cause I love you still, cause you are here to make prophecy fulfill. It's Jah will, no weapon that form against me, desire shall not be, divine protection shall set my soul free. Talk to me if Jah is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid of the pestilence that crawleth by night? If Jah is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid of the pestilence that crawleth by night? My boss does say, you can't check needles in him. What he had to come with? What he had to come with? A harpoon. The gates of hell can never prevail. From I know Jah, he will never fail. What you think I'm gonna do? Give up now? No, no, now go bow. My folks attack and I just smile. They don't seem to understand my smile. My confidence is so high, high. In a Baba Jana, if Jah is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid of the pestilence that crawleth by night? If Jah is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid of the pestilence that crawleth by night?
I stayed away in it for a while, and now we're driving me insane. Just a little bit longer, baby. My love keeps growing stronger. Just a little more time to say that in my head I love someplace. Just a little bit longer, baby. My love keeps growing stronger. Just a little more time to say that in my head I love someplace for you. Stronger. Just a little more time to say that in my head I love someplace. Just a little bit longer, baby. Love keeps going stronger. Just a little more time to say that in my head I love someplace. song playing for you.
Years ago, our band was only made up of convicted inmates. Our saxophonist, who was charged for murder, he's a remanded guy, all right? And he fell into the program so nicely, of course, with all the protocol and all the red tape that we had to go through. Everything was approved, so we have a remanded man mixing with the convicted to perform for you all this evening. Thank you, Louis. Okay, and like I said, we have more exciting news. Do you all know that we are streaming live? Some of us may know, some of us may not know. But we are streaming live at the Women's Prison, Remand Golden Grove, and MSP. And there's a gentleman here who is responsible for that happening. Apart from our commissioner, as we continue to honor excellence, there's a gentleman here, he doesn't say much, you know, right? But when he acts, he acts. Could we put our hands together and he would share just for a few minutes about his dream and seeing it happen with the radio station, Mr. Garth Sinclair.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much. It's an honor and a real pleasure to be here to be part of this afternoon of excellence for Mr. Stewart. And it's always, you know, to say goodbye to these good gentlemen. And you know, it's really sad to know that you're retiring, I must say, because from a very, very long time, I've always heard about Stewart. Always. You know, that's about this from YTC, especially. Every time the word programs, you know, comes up, Mr. Stewart's name always comes up. And he's notorious for wanting people to change. And that is something, when I did my time at Golden Grove, it didn't have all of this. Really, it was just in a dormitory, and there was that little speaker on the wall, and there was a time, I spent a carnival in here, which was really terrible. And I remember I was listening to Panorama, and that little speaker they had on the wall, and a man said, boy, Sinclair, you could really make jail, boy. You listen to that. I said, well, I have to try to connect with the outside still. But when I left here, when I left Golden Grove, I made that commitment to myself, because at one time I was a serving member of the Trinidad and Tobago Regiment. And it's when I came in here I realized that I wasn't built for prison. And I spoke to God over and over and over and over. And I promised that when I left here, I was going to do something to help my society understand the ills and the dangers of substance abuse and its related ills. And that journey started in earnest from the time I started sharing my stories with people. And then I started this radio program called Our Independency with my co-host at the time, who is now my wife, Natasha. And by the way, Ma'am, I'm happy to hear you speak about your husband in such glowing terms and that union. And you know, it's the same, my wife and I have been, this year, well, it's our 5th anniversary and the 31st of this month. But we've been together like 20 years. And she stuck by my side and guided me through this process of my dream of giving back. And then we teamed up with the British High Commission. And just as on my way here, I was speaking to the young man. He's back home in Tobago now, but he was extradited for conspiracy to traffic cocaine to the UK. And that time, Soccer and SORT teamed up, and they extradited 28 Caribbean nationals to the UK. He got 25 years for that. He was working Caribbean Airlines at the time. He's back home now, and he's complaining about reintegrating and readjusting and that acceptance in society. And I understand that, and I told him, I said, well, when you go to prison, you do time for the state, but when you release, you have to do time for society. That's how it is. So with more people like Mr. Stewart and Mr. Roger, because Mr. Roger was there, Mr. John Roger and Gordon Husbands were the two people when we came back from London, and I saw this prison radio. And I never knew that existed at all, that there were societies that already understood this restorative justice thrust to educate people while they're in prison. And the British system is different. But there was a radio station there called Radio 10. So I found out more. We were introduced to the Prison Radio Association. And under the Ministry of Justice at the time, the gentlemen came here through the kind courtesy of the British High Commission. And they met with Mr. Gordon Husbands, and Mr. Roger was commissioner at the time. And what I was impressed with was the fact that it was handed on from commissioner to commissioner. And that smooth transition, I know it had some struggle with the Ministry of Justice, because we have a problem in Trinidad and Tobago where when we put someone in office, we don't really care if they're suited for the role, we just put them there. So the people at the Ministry of Justice didn't understand it. But I love the idea and the fact that Mr. Stewart and Mr. Martinez and all, they decided to keep prison radio going. And of course, without Anselm Spring, don't forget Anselm Spring, because if it wasn't for Anselm Spring, this would have been dead. I'm sure of that. So, Mr. Stewart, see if you can give Spring our next promotion before you leave from a place. Anselm Spring kept this going. Give him a round of applause again. God bless him. And I've seen prison radio change lives abroad, and I'm happy that you all are keeping it going. And just to hear this streaming live, and I'm sure the guys in London would be proud to hear this. I want to thank you all very, very much for keeping it going. And just so you know that we'll be hooking up with Rise Maximum Radio on Christmas morning on I-95.5. Now, Our Independency normally broadcasts on a Sunday evening from 6:15. But for Christmas morning, we're going to be in the morning from 10 to 12. So put your radios on to listen to restorative justice in action. We'll be going live, hooking up live with Rise Maximum Radio, and we'll carrying that broadcast from 10 to 12, where we'll get greetings coming from here to the outside, and then people from outside will call the radio station and send greetings to the penal institution. So all this couldn't happen without the support of Mr. Clark at the time, and Mr. Carr, and all of these gentlemen who were here at the maximum security prison. I was handed over, and Mr. Prince, Ms. Carraspi, all of you are carrying it on. I want to say God bless you. And Mr. Stewart, it's really a pleasure for me. When the guy called me, when the officer called me and said, we're having a affair with Mr. Stewart, and we would like you to speak. I said, you sure it's me? He said, yes, it's you. I said, well, let's talk to Mr. Stewart about that. He said, well, where were you? I said, oh, but Mr. Stewart, he's trying to make up for the time he blanked me. You know, what time I want to see him, I can't see him. So he was But I said, no, I have to come. I have to do this. You're a good man, Mr. Stewart, because everybody spoke about you. Everybody who speak about you, they have one thing to say. Make it happen. Make it happen. Thank you, people. God bless.
All right, we heard up from the musical vibrations, right? And again, this may come as a surprise to you. They have been going a lot of places as well. They are high in demand because they continue to be free, Mr. Hanif. Free. All right, so coming to perform for you all, let's put our hands together for MSP's Parang Band. Let's put our hands together and welcome them.
María lloraba, yo lo por su niño.